Hello, everyone. It is Bella and Laura here, and we are really excited to be talking all things breakfast.
It's my favorite meal.
I think it's my favorite meal too. I would say brunch is my favorite meal, but breakfast foods, delicious, I think. But a lot of questions, I think, come up often regarding breakfast, and I think it's one of the meals that people find most tricky to find what works for them. And I think there's a lot of noise in the nutrition space, intermittent fasting, what to have for breakfast, and hopefully coffee, and hopefully we can try and tackle some of those today and just quickly chat through them with you all.
Why don't we start with what I chimed in with first, which is coffee. That comes up, I think like almost every day we have a question about coffee. So could you talk a little bit about what we can do?
Sure. And as always, I'm going to preface this by saying it's honestly about what works for you. Caffeine, especially. Some people are very sensitive to caffeine and some people are less sensitive to caffeine. And so, just because I'm saying something about coffee, please don't think, okay, well then great, I'm going to have my cup of coffee. And then you're feeling jittery or horrible, or it leads to cravings and say, well, Bella said it was okay. Bottom line, it's going to be different for everyone. And
if you're in the Metabolic Mastery Club, just a reminder, we actually have a video on understanding coffee and whether or not it's genetically something you're predispositioned to have an intolerance to or not. So if you are watching this in MMC, we'll share that link with you too. Back to you, Bella.
Totally. No, so personally, I think coffee is demonized quite a bit. And I think that with some kind of rough guidelines surrounding coffee, you can absolutely still enjoy it. I know both Laura and I enjoy coffee. I would say one of the biggest things is, what are you putting in your coffee? And this is probably something you're aware of, but, popping to Starbucks or another coffee shop and getting a big sugary drink full of all sorts of different flavors and dairy milk, maybe you're intolerant to dairy, but you're having that, that's going to add sugar into your day, which is potentially going to lead to cravings. It's also going to add a lot of calories unnecessarily into your day. So I do recommend, if you are going for coffee, either drinking it black or putting in something like nut pods. I'm a big fan of. It's an unsweetened plant-based creamer. It's essentially just coconut cream, but it's really delicious. And just kind of keeping things simple in regards to that, rather than adding lots of sugary craziness.
And I drink my coffee black, but I didn't always drink my coffee black. I kind of back in college, I weaned myself off of having cream and sugar in my coffee. So you don't have to just switch totally overnight. You can adjust with these nut pods if you want a little creaminess, and then maybe you start drinking it black too. That's just an option. And I now love black coffee, so you could love it too.
I love that. And I will say one thing that helped me with the transition is buying really good coffee. For me, I really do prioritize buying organic coffee, and I look at where the coffee comes from. By the way, if you have never tried Nicaraguan coffee, it is amazing. So I highly recommend, but finding, and investing in a good quality coffee, I think will really help you. Another tip I do have regarding coffee, which really it's sometimes difficult, but again, just making a habit of it. Before I drink my cup of coffee, I ensure that I drink a full glass of water. Yeah. And then after my coffee, I also drink another glass of water. And this is because oftentimes, and we spoke about this recently, coffee is the first thing you reach for when you wake up. Your body is already dehydrated. You need that water. And coffee is a diuretic, so it's going to make you even more dehydrated. So please, when you do enjoy your coffee, remember to drink, maybe a glass of water before and a glass of water after. And that's just going to help, I think, as you're consuming it.
This is another question about coffee we get. And I don't know if you've ever answered it, Bella. We have people who talk about and ask what to do when they want both coffee and their morning shake. Do you have any recommendations?
Yeah,
I know some people just do both together, they have it next to each other.
Me, honestly, for me, I do things a little bit differently, but I do wake up and I have my water and my coffee, and then I personally like to work out fasted. That's just what works for me. And then I'll have my shake. But for those of you who want to consume it at the same time, one thing, you can do is add your coffee into your shake. And especially in these summer months when it's really hot outside and you might not want a warm cup, that's a really fun way to create a delicious mocha, or mocha, I think you call it in America. It's delicious, but also, having them alongside. I think absolutely, I will say coffee is not a replacement for your protein shake. Coffee, in my opinion, if you are hungry, is not breakfast. You do really need to try and get that protein in. And you can even add your protein powder into your coffee. And I know we have some recipes in MMC on the library, if you remember, with some different lattes and things you can make, to get that high protein and to enjoy your warm cup in the morning.
And if you're watching this on our social and you're not a member of Metabolic Mastery Club, just let us know and we will hook you up. And those of you who already are in the know, good job.
I love it. I love it. So I think that's all things coffee. Do we have anything else to add on coffee?
I think that's good. I mean, I just in limiting quantities of it. So I also used to so when I was in college, I worked at Starbucks for a little while and I drank oh my gosh, I probably had 3 venti coffees all in the morning. Oh, it was not healthy or recommended. So do try to limit yourself to a cup or 2.
Very true. And also I think if you're someone who's struggling with sleep, something you might want to consider is, making sure that you do drink your 1 cup of coffee in the morning. For me, that's before 11 a.m. And, if I have any later than that, I do notice changes and disturbances in my sleep. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. But Laura made it, that's a huge point. Coffee, I think, yes, can be enjoyed, but in moderation. It's, just like sweets or something, you don't want to be having excessive amounts.
So I do love my coffee. Now, why don't we talk about transition a little bit to things that one might have with coffee? So we talked a little bit about shakes. I know another question that comes up a lot is non-shake breakfast alternatives. Hopefully. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about that, since I actually love and obsessed with eggs, and I know you are too. So
yeah, so I will say when it comes to breakfast, the main thing I want you to focus on is protein. Protein, there are actually tons and tons of studies about eating a protein-rich breakfast or a protein-rich first meal and the effect that it can have on the rest of your day in terms of choices that you make and cravings and things like that. So you've heard us talk about probably at Metabolic Living before the S's that we use to keep things simple. And of course, out of the 2, scrambles and shakes are 2, typical breakfast things. As Laura mentioned, I love eggs. They're really, really affordable. And obviously they're a great source of both protein and healthy fats. And you can kind of dress them up and make them fun. Maybe you want to do an omelette and add some vegetables. I love to add, leftover veggies from dinner or even scraps in my fridge. I know that sounds crazy, but it's a great way to use everything up, which I'm a really big fan of. You could do a poached egg. You could even do a dippy egg that we have in the UK that I absolutely love, which is essentially a soft boiled egg. And then you can make some of our metabolic bread and just dip it in there.
I've never heard it called a dippy egg before. Yeah. That is amazing.
And soldiers, it's also cool, but I've actually been on a kick of that lately. Just simple scrambled eggs and avocado is an absolutely delicious breakfast. Bacon. Now, I do want to talk about bacon because I think, again, it's heavily demonized, but also others are, huge praisers of bacon. For me personally, and again, this is my personal opinion, I think bacon can absolutely be enjoyed in moderation. I do think the quality is really, really important. Some bacon at the store has a huge ingredients list and is packed with sugar and all sorts of different kind of preservatives and weird flavorings and things like that. But if you can find a good pasture-raised bacon with no nitrates and not even sugar, I think you're absolutely fine. What do you think, Laura?
So I was once a bacon-tarian in my life. I was a vegetarian for a period, but then I stopped being a vegetarian and only decided I would eat bacon. So I am a bacon connoisseur, and I will, whether or not that's a good thing or not, no, it is. The more I've learned about bacon, the more I like only really good bacon. And I will tell you the best bacon I can find, and I've said this is in multiple places of living, is going to your farmer's market. And nowadays there's also a lot of online markets. So in Georgia, we have a group called Fresh Harvest Georgia, and we have a collective harvest, and they deliver to your house, and it's all local. They have all sorts of bacon options and egg options and all sorts of things. And that all is, nitrate free. It's from really, really happy pigs. You'll know they're so happy because they go out, they run out of stock, and then you have to wait several months before you can get more because they're you don't want to always think about that, but this is the good stuff. And the taste is different. How satisfying it is. is different. And you won't be happy with the garbage again once you've had the good stuff. So I guess that's my little what I learned being a bacon-tarian.
I totally agree. I love that. Thank you for your bacon wisdom, since you are a pro. I will say though, so just to go along back to the S's, you know, I think scrambles and shakes are both great options and really easy to kind of whip together. But I will say, don't be afraid of kind of unconventional options as well. In my opinion, there's no reason why you can't wake up and enjoy a salad for breakfast, you know, or leftovers from the night before. And, you know, for some people, and I am one of these people, I will admit, I do love breakfast food. So for me, I do love sticking to the traditional, but I know for others, maybe you don't like breakfast food, or maybe it's more of a struggle to put together a breakfast. So it's actually easier for you to just have your dinner leftovers in the morning. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As long as you are getting, you know, a real food, nutrient dense meal, preferably focused on protein, I think you're golden.
And you can prep things in advance. So like my son goes to school now, well, soon. And so I have a whole bunch of stuff in the freezer ready to go, so that I know it might be a little hairy the first couple of days for both of us. So I'm ready, and I know I won't have to be worried about what am I going to have for breakfast. And you can do that. We have some videos with Bella talking to you about how you can prepare your shakes in advance and all sorts of things just to take that stress off, since it seems to me from what we've seen in the group, the biggest reasons people don't have breakfast isn't because you're actually trying to fast. It's because you're just too busy and you run out of time. So if you do that in advance, and also you might just be a little less stressed all morning and have a better day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we can link those to you, but yeah, we do have a lot of different options, whether that's, you know, kind of prepping like smoothie packs, as I say, you know, just getting all the ingredients ready. So all you have to do is add your protein powder and some almond milk or something, and you're ready to go. Things like egg muffins are really wonderful, and they're great as a snack too. Again, just grab and go options. So hopefully that helped. But if you guys have any more, you know, breakfast recipe requests or suggestions, we'll be happy to help also on that.
Last reminder, just you don't have to limit breakfast to breakfast. You can have breakfast for lunch. Bella and I do that. You can have breakfast for dinner. You can have breakfast all different times. It's lovely.
Yeah. Totally true. Totally true.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful morning tomorrow now as a result, and we will see you again soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.